yeah, because there will not be anyone in the seat. More of a, yeah, I would interpret that. That's how I would interpret that. As long as it's so charged, so that it's like, so they have to charge.
He's being paid.
The last one.
Yeah, I didn't read the check.
So you really, I say,
Oh, the chamber.
yeah.
So that, okay, yes. But they've done the last two.
Yeah, I would say that.
So they want to know.
Well, maybe not the one I guess the argument is that it is church.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're 2 minutes and 7 seconds late here, so we're going to get started. We'll welcome everyone to our January the 12th meeting of the Charter Review Committee here for the City of Palm Coast. To get the meeting started, I'm calling it to order, and I'd ask that everyone stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, to get us started, I'd ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Chair O'Brien.
Here.
Vice Chair Chano.
Present.
Committee Member Marrero.
Present.
Committee Member Martin.
Here.
Committee Member Miller.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Next order of business is to review and discuss and approve our minutes from the December 15th, 2025 committee meeting.
So moved.
I'll second. All right, any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Moving right along. Okay. So we have a little bit different, couple different things on our agenda this evening than we've had in the past, committee members, as I'm sure you know, because we will have the agenda ahead of time. Before we do that, before we move on to some city manager updates that Lauren Johnson is going to do for us, our new city manager, Mike McLaughlin, is here this evening and would like to say a few words. So, sir, welcome and congratulations on the job, and things are going well so far.
Thank you, Chair O'Brien, members of the Charter Review Committee. My name is Mike McLaughlin. I'm the new city manager here in Palm Coast. Very excited and very happy to join this great team, this great community. I just wanted to pop in and haven't had a chance to meet everyone, so I want to take advantage of this opportunity to introduce myself. Always remind you that I'll be available anytime you'd like to call on me. The only time I close my door is when I'm physically having to do so. So aside from that, I like to keep it open door policy, and that works for both external and internal stakeholders. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me in the future if you need to do so. I've undertaken a charter review process, before in my municipal career, so I understand the charge that you have, and I understand the tight timelines that you have to get a lot of work done. And I appreciate you doing your utmost to meet both of those demands. So thank you very much for what you're doing for the community, for the city, and please know that you can count on me as a partner. If you should ever need to reach out. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, next up, is it Assistant City Manager, Lauren?
Deputy now.
Deputy City Manager, Lauren Johnston, would like to talk with us about some things, updates and whatnot, so, she's on the agenda, and we'll, turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. As I know that you guys have been very diligent in working, just wanted to come on behalf of City Council because this is one of their identified strategic action plan priorities. So I just have a brief presentation to help summarize the findings and then discuss next steps of how it gets brought forth to City Council. So just as a reminder, we know that, the current Charter Review Committee is tasked underlining the process at minimum at least every 10 years. And it should be done no later than April 1st of 2028. And then we know under your scope is you're appointed at least 1 year before the next scheduled general election and complete the work and present any recommendations to the City Council no later than April 1st before the next general election. And while I know it's still January, I feel like April 1st is just right around the corner. The Palm Coast City Council shall hold a minimum of 2 public hearings on any proposed changes by the City Council or Charter Review Committee to the charter prior to determining whether to place any changes on the scheduled general election. So that means anything that we're going to change or give City Council enough time in at least March to make that determination. And I have that timeline before you here. So we launched the committee in August. You're currently under the review period through the end of this month, and then need to really review those recommendations in February. You guys have been hard at work with completed action. We hired Dr. DeMont, hosted 3 town halls. You've had 8 committee meetings as of date, and I understand there is a draft review of the charter. So really want to discuss next steps with you all, with how those recommendations are going to come to City Council. Will there be a finalized report? Will there be a presentation? The Residential Drainage Advisory Committee, which was another committee under City Council, made a recommendation where the chair presented, and then they had some backup findings as well. So didn't know your process, but know that we need to go ahead and get it on council's agenda worksheet for hopefully sometime in February or early March, or possibly convene a special workshop just on this topic, depending on how intense the report is and the findings. So just really wanted to open up there for you, Chair.
Yeah, please.
I have a strong feeling that it's going to be a comprehensive report. Just from the things that we've been working on so far. We've got quite a few things that we want to recommend. And then we understand that you can't get everything on the ballot. So what we propose to do is to give the City Council some things that we don't feel should go on the ballot, but we hope the City Council might create a council policy manual and include those in the policy manual, so it would still be in effect, but it just wouldn't be something that would need to go to the voters.
And in addition, a list of what we thought might be new ordinances to consider.
So is the thought that we would just deliver the report and not do any presentation to council. I would opt for a presentation to council, run by Dr. Dumont, because like the Stormwater Group, they didn't have a consultant.
Correct.
We did, so I would think it would be, you know, she'd be the best person to present an overview of the report we're gonna give them. Just wanna know how
I would
the committee
agree.
feels about that.
But I also think we should be there to explain if the council has any questions, why we did what we did, then I think we should be there to explain the reason behind what we did.
The only thing I say about that is brevity, in my mind, it needs, the report is gonna be the report, and it's, whatever it has to be, it has to be. Just from a presentation standpoint, I think, you know, we should let Dr. Dumont run the presentation, and again, if we wanna be there to fill in the blanks, but I just think if we go for a really long agenda item, we're gonna have less of an impact than if we do more of a high-level overview at the meeting itself.
Unless we do it as a workshop, the council decides to do it as a workshop, then it's just a single item on the agenda.
I was going to suggest, Lauren, that, a presentation be made. I don't know if you wanna make it special council meeting or whatever, but at a council meeting, and then request the board and council meet with us and a workshop. Just sit around the table so they can shoot at us if they want to. I mean, I don't know if anybody's open to that, but I wouldn't mind standing there with Dr. Dumont, if she doesn't mind standing with us and telling exactly what we feel and why we came up with it. Most of it's on tape anyway, or on the recording, so that lengthens it out. I would like it to be succinct, like the chair says, give a report, and here it is, run with it, but I don't know if that's going to work.
So time is of the essence, so if everything must be completed by city council by April, and they have to have 2 public hearings, you're talking, there's only 2 meetings in March, so we would need to have the report and either a workshop or both scheduled for February at the very latest, because that doesn't give city council a lot of time to decide, okay, thank you for the report, we liked this, we wanna do this, but maybe we're gonna wait on that, whatever their flavor is about what they want to do as far as next steps, we're running into a time crunch to be able to get that done and executed, by the deadline and the time constraints within the current term.
Dawn, can I ask you, what's the date of the second council meeting in February?
It's February 17th.
Okay, because right now we've got meetings scheduled today, a meeting on the 26th, a meeting on February 9th, and another meeting on February 23rd. But that would be, the 23rd meeting would obviously be after the last city council meeting.
Right,
So perhaps we can move those meetings up, especially the 23rd, to try to have it before the 17th? So we can finalize it?
You need to finalize your report by your next meeting, because the city council needs to get the report, review it, and all of that to make it into a workshop agenda. Because we publish our agenda two weeks in advance for city council, so that they're getting the backup material plenty of time in advance to read and digest it.
I'll leave it at Doctor. Where are we on our schedule? How are we with you? Going through the charter, finalizing things?
Tonight we are doing Article 5. Well, we start with Article 5 tonight, and there are 10 articles. The 10th one should be very quick. It's severability. So we have charter officers, elections, council, district boundaries, and general provisions.
You know, we were originally told, Lauren, that we needed to produce a report by March 31st. That's what that had been our timeline that we were given when we started this. So now you're saying we need to do it by, about 6 weeks earlier than that.
Well, I'm just reading what's inside the current charter language. The phone is right here.
Good evening, everybody. Marcus Duffy, City Attorney. So what we originally explained to you that the city council had to pass something, by March 31st, because April 1st, I think, was past the Tuesday deadline. So that's how it was explained. I think it was, we were trying to hope that everything could be done in an efficient manner that would get to the supervisor election, but the goal was city council would be completed by March 31st.
And I think we may have to start meeting weekly.
Because it wasn't further explained other than the deadline from the council.
We need to.
Like Lauren just explained it, what all the steps before that, and I apologize, we should know too, but it wasn't explained that way, it was just said, here's your deadline, so, we may have to. We've been working as hard and as fast as you can. There was a lot of things not in this charter that really needed review.
And I know that city council is very appreciative of your efforts. They are following along in this journey. I've heard great feedback from them. So, you know, my role today was just to try and get us on council's agenda and get the report, or however you'd like to present, in front of them. So it sounds like a comprehensive report and a scheduled workshop in February, where you would have Dr. Demont present, and you guys would be there as backup if there was any questions. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, so just to make 100% sure, we need to give the report to the city council by that February 17th meeting, is that correct?
It's really, we need it, you know, the 1st of February, because we need to publish the agenda 2 weeks in advance.
Okay, so our deadline now is February 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If we have to go to weekly meetings, that's what we'll have to do.
Or talk faster.
Or talk faster, let's hear it.
We've been doing a pretty good job.
You know, I used Dr. Dumont's working document, and then I used the original charter, and just for my own edification, if you will, I put them in an AI program and compared the two. It really wasn't that complicated. It was only about maybe 4 or 5 bullets. That's it, in terms of the differences between the two documents. Now, I know we're not done yet. So, we'll write whatever report you want, but, you know, that's gonna take some work, and then we have to have a conversation about who's gonna write it, and then, you know, how that gets reviewed, because I can tell you, I don't want my name on any report that I haven't thoroughly had input to and wrote, and, you know, had part in editing and writing, so those are challenging things we gotta get discussed tonight.
And we still need to prioritize as well.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So it's not just a report, it's also prioritizing what we think needs to go on this ballot next year, or should say now, later this year.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Like I said, I would not be averse to meeting weekly to make sure that we can get it done.
I'm fine, any other member have a problem with that? I mean,
No
it's a matter
problem.
of whether staff can help us.
Unfortunately, I thought we were ahead of the game a little bit till tonight, so.
Okay.
I know one thing, I'm glad we can start meeting this month,
Hmm,
if we wouldn't have been able to get it done.
right?
Okay, I think I need clarity as to what you mean by a report. So what the assumption was from the beginning until now was we present all the charter changes and then the rationale for each one of those changes. I wouldn't consider that a report, I consider that the changes and the rationale for each change. And then at our last meeting together, we'll rank order all of those changes as to what you think needs to be changed first and what can wait till a later ballot. So I just need clarity as to, are we doing that, or is somebody writing a full report?
Actually, what you said in the beginning, I consider a report, but,
That was my vision of what we were going to do.
Okay, so a strike through, underline, what the draft is right now, a simple strike through, underline, change to the charter, and then pull out what the changes are, the rationale for each, and then ranked order.
I was gonna ask the chair if he'd share his AI program with you and come up with a concise, have the underline, the strike through and all that. But as he said, he's gone through and already checked and saw, would you say about five bullets right now? And there's gonna be more, but if he wouldn't mind working with you, and I'm putting him on the spot, sorry, Chair.
I can do the AI piece, and there really are there are 4 like big changes to date.
Right.
But other than that, it's more,
Scrivener's.
it's Scrivener errors, clarifying language, things like that, or, updating there are certain sections that refer to sections that didn't even exist, and changing those so that they're correct. So there's all of those changes, but then there are these substantive changes.
So why not the report in, as you and I talked about, the backup is, here, you can look at the backup, and see how we came to this report conclusion. Does that make sense?
Or we could save the explanation, you to wait until the council asks, why did we do this? Then we can explain why we did it, to try to speed it up. We certainly have to prioritize.
I don't know the answer.
Mr. Rivera? Ramon, feedback from you, thoughts?
I definitely think we need to meet every week from here to February so we can meet the deadline. There's no other way we can do that.
I agree.
Well, if I may, so even if we meet every week, are we still short on time at all? Do we need to just stay an extra bit at each of the meetings, on a half hour, up to an hour at most? I mean, they're long meetings, don't get me wrong, but this was a big job. So would that make any difference at all? Would that get Dr. Dumont through, getting it done a little bit more so we don't miss anything? This way we're not at the end of the deadline and all of a sudden, like, we didn't cover one thing. And it's like, why did we do this? So do we need more time? Should the chair have the option to extend the meeting, continue for another little bit? Dr. Dumont didn't mind. I think that we have to put an effort beyond the effort now. So,
I agree.
I mean, the dates, my calendar on my phone right now, my phone's hot. I can't even hold it because we got 2 dates. And it's okay, it's all right, but I got a big calendar, so.
I think first we need to ask Kaylee, are all the Monday nights this month open?
So there's only 2 more Mondays for the month of January, and the 19th is, Martin Luther King Day, so offices are closed. So there'd be no Monday available on the 19th. The 26th is available.
Yeah, we're scheduled to meet on the 26th.
Yes.
We're looking to
Can we
squeeze
meet-
something more in.
Well, can we meet on, if not Monday, the 3rd Monday, can we meet on the 3rd Tuesday?
No. She has
I
classes.
teach on Tuesdays.
How about the 3rd Wednesday? I mean, what's your availability?
I'm not available on Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Could we meet on that Wednesday night?
On Wednesday, there's a planning and then
Planning board.
enrollment regulation board meeting.
So why don't we try and get as far as we can within the guidance that we're working on, whether you guys need to extend tonight, and then, we'll meet internally, Kaylee and Dr. Dumont and I, to work on scheduling to see if there's an additional, meeting date that we can help you guys. Maybe it's, a different time that we can meet internally, without looking at all of the schedules and all of that.
The big discussion is gonna come at the end when the doctor finishes with the
Right.
strike through and additions and comments that we'll probably be looking at it be like a going, oh, did I say that, or is that what we really wanted? So
Right.
that's what's got us behind the 8 ball.
So, I wanna get consensus right now on 2 things. Number one, what physical deliverable we're gonna have here. And second, the process in terms of delivering it to the council at the meeting. Whether that's, a presentation by Dr. Dumont, or some other way that we do it. As chair, I have no desire to do that. I think it needs to be the consultant's job. So I'm not afraid of doing it. I just think it would be better for her to do that because it's more neutral. So, again, if we can get consensus on those two things, I think that's important for us to do that right now.
I'll give you a lead on consensus. I would just rather have Dr. Dumont do the report in a concise fashion, so that this way here, city council hears it as it's presented. They have a problem with it, they can stop her, they can ask a question. We're all gonna be there. And we move on, just keep rolling through the hedgerows like we should be doing. None of us should make that report, with all due respect, and I know my colleague here has huge experience in it, and as everyone else on this board, but she's the professional, right? She being Dr. Dumont. And for us to expect anything less than the professional that was hired, it would be a waste of time that we hired the professional. We should have just done it. So I think that my theory and my motion, if you want to go with a motion, you need a motion, is to just stick with Dr. Dumont to make the presentation, get us the document that we could review, strike through, red line, strike through all of that, underline, all that fancy stuff, and let's move on, because we can get it done. If we have to extend the meeting an hour, you got 5 weeks to do it, that's 5 hours, that's another meeting and a quarter or so. So if that's what we have to do, it's.
Perry, we only have one more meeting scheduled after this.
I know, I understand.
That's on 2 hours, so we can get it in an hour.
But there's a lot more Mondays left, if they need
There's
it,
a few Mondays we can.
if we had to do it.
Yeah, the fourth Monday, we could try to do the same thing.
I don't wanna be here any longer than necessary, but if we have to stay, we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, I would support Dr. Dumont doing the presentation.
I'm up for Dr. Dumont.
I agree as well.
Okay?
Gee, Dr. Dumont, how do you feel about that?
We'll chat offline on presentation, what it looks like, and then strike through underlying report format, so we'll work internally on that.
Okay? All right, so we good on that?
Yep.
All right, good discussion. Anything else, Lauren? Okay.
No, thank you.
So it was March 1st, right? That's the absolute deadline.
No, we have to give it to them, we have to give it to, by the second, the first city council. You've got to give them by February 1st.
February 1st.
February 1st, they have to have, the city council have to have it. So whatever we need to do to get it done and give it to the city by February 1st.
Chair, you had, asked Dr. Dumont to come back to administration and ask about the, article for budget and appropriations, and we had the previous charter amendment on this particular topic. I can provide you some reference material for when this was presented in front of the previous city council, if you'd like. It had some language in there about projects that it could apply to, the framework that we've gotten from our bond council about what we can and what we cannot do, what's already obligated by the state that we cannot do, without obviously, a referendum. So if it's helpful, we can email that all to you, and then you have it to review before your next meeting, so you can finalize that topic. Is that helpful?
Yeah, extremely helpful.
Okay. Do you need me for anything else?
Any other questions for Lauren? Okay, well, thanks for coming and delivering some tough news to us tonight and giving us perspective. So that's it was very helpful, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we gotta get to work. So Dr. Dumont, I think it's, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that
I will be.
city attorney needs some time, I apologize.
No, no worries. So, again, City Attorney Marcus Sutton. So, Dr. Dumont graciously had some follow-up questions. I think you guys had to, when I was here last time, about some questions in the charter that you wanted to change. So, real quick, I think you, follow-up questions to the signature requirements, if someone wants to qualify by petition. Citing some people pointing to other city that have different rules in their charter. I can't talk about those cities, I don't know why they have it that way, all I can talk to you about what the statute says. And the statute's very clear, it's, Florida Statute 99.095 2A requires a candidate who is seeking to qualify by petition to obtain 1% of the signatures of voters in the geographical area represented by the office. So 1%, that's what is required, unfortunately. That's what, unless there's some other that I'm not tracking, but that's what the statute says. Any follow-up questions to that part? Seeing none, I'll move along. Oh, sorry, Mr. Miller.
I was of the opinion, and I know it charts, I'm missing the part for the number or percentage, but for the fee requirements, they can be different. Is that correct?
Yeah, the fee, it still has to be, I think, a 3% fee, whatever the salary is.
Statutory fee requirements may be changed by municipal charter or ordinance.
As long as it does not conflict with Florida statute.
That isn't what it says.
Okay, so let's pull it up to what the statute is.
100.3605.
I see that, it says underneath that, no charter or ordinance provision shall be adopted which conflicts with or exempts a municipality from any provision in the Florida Election Code that expressly applies to municipalities. And Florida Election Code are chapters 97 through 106.
So how, I know you said you didn't do that, but wouldn't it be incumbent to check and find out why these other cities can have different fees and different percentages qualifying?
That's their view of the law. I only advise on what I do with the law. That's my role as a city attorney. I have ran this by throughout other attorneys in my firm, make sure like him, am I missing anything? They agree?
Did you check with the Florida League of Cities?
No.
I can advise them.
Any other follow-up questions? Let's see. Do council members have power to suspend a member of the council if due process is followed, or can only the governor do this? So, Florida Statute 112.51 says that only the governor can suspend. What council can do is make a recommendation to the governor to suspend. Any follow-up questions to that?
It's pretty clear.
Right. So, I believe you had a question about the resign to run law. And I'm trying to look at how Dr. Fremont said it to me is that actually, can you rephrase that? What was the question? Sorry, make sure I understand it right.
If someone resigns to run, but puts their resignation date to the 11/59 of the day before the election, and qualifying is still open at this point, can someone else run for that seat?
Sorry, you're saying that qualifying still open at 11:59 a.m.? Or 11:59
No,
p.m.?
when they submit their resignation.
Oh, yeah. So if qualifying is still open and so once someone submits a resignation, it's my interpretation, and as long as they put the resignation date, they can't take that back. So if they submit the resignation letter before someone is qualified, and in our charter, that's how it is said, then yes, someone can run for that seat. Is that clear?
So you're saying that they get their resignation, they're done?
Yeah, you get that resignation letter, and you met the requirements of the Florida statute. I believe you have to put the date that you're going to resign, which is only two options. It's either, I believe, it's the date that you're going to resign or the date that you're going to take the office of the new position. So as long as those two are met, therefore someone can run for that seat before the qualifying period. Any other follow-up questions on that? All right. And then the last question, I believe, was about putting putting the actual charter amendment as an ordinance.
Does each change have to go individually, or can all the changes go as one big change?
So I'm gonna confirm this, I think it would probably be best to do it as individual changes. My worry is that if you do it one big change, if they don't like one passage, then the whole thing fails. I'll confirm that, but to me, that would be the best way.
I think Dr. Dumont said that. But if you did that, that's what could happen.
Mhm.
Because then it could null the whole thing, which would be a waste of all our time.
And then also there is there's a case law out there that has the, each ordinance and one ballot, they all have to be one subject rule. So technically, yes, the charter is one subject, but someone can make the argument that's multiple subjects in that ballot. So there could be a little risk there. So again, that's where I would say you wanna make it individual. Yes, sir.
Just to follow up on that, we have a recommendation to remove the word elector and replace it with registered voters of the city.
Okay.
There's quite a few places in the charter that use the word elector.
Yes.
So we would then have to specify each individual change rather than saying an overall change. Replace the word elector within the charter with registered voters of the city. That would not work.
So that's more of a minor simple change. I'm talking about like if you're doing some major changes, like maybe you're adding something new that's a big thing, that would say be something minor. Just be cognizant of that. I think electors, I think that language took from the Florida statute. I think you're allowed to change it, but I think that was, because it's defined in Florida statute what an elector is. So I think that's where we got that from.
Yeah, the problem is elector is not defined until you get to Article 7. So if somebody is reading the beginning of the charter and you go into Article 2, Article 4, it talks about elector. This was public comment in our town hall meetings.
Okay.
And people were saying, what the heck is an elector? People didn't understand it, and one of the things we were trying to do was to simplify the charter so people who read it will actually understand what it means. They don't have to try to go to the state statute and look it up. So that was a response to some of the comments that we had in the town hall meetings.
Yeah, whatever you guys think is, more feasible.
Okay, thank you.
I think that was all the questions that I had. Any other follow-up questions?
So far.
Well, I'll be listening, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right. It's been a few weeks, we gotta get us caught up and back on track.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a fabulous holiday. Got a thumb up over there. Got a thumb up. I like that. And smiles. Then it was a good holiday season. We're ready for a new year. Okay, so like all of our agendas, tonight's agenda is to review what we covered on the last meeting and then to continue moving through the charter to get as far as we can. Last meeting, some basic stuff, clean up removal from office language. So we cleaned that up to make sure that's clearer. We added censuring. So you can censor someone, they can't be removed, but they can do this censure. Filling of vacancies, they must be called, the council has to call for an election within 30 days. The election's not within 30 days, but they have to set an election date within 30 days of the vacancy becoming open. Added no remote voting. So quorum means that they are physically present. And then employment of past council members. This would be for only executive positions within 1 year. So if somebody steps off from council, they can be a city employee, but not in an executive position. So you want to be the street sweeper, did I say that weird? Street sweeper. You can do that because it is not an executive position. Am I missing any? Or you have a different recollection?
Are these already in your working document?
Yes. We just clarified this stuff last.
Okay, yep.
Last year, we clarified it last year.
Okay.
You don't get to say that for too long. Okay, then, I will, would you like there to be comment?
On the review, I think, let's move forward and start our review process, and then we'll go to normal.
All right, so we ended the meeting last time with as we're entering charter officers. There are not many changes in this, this part of the section. Evaluation was what was added. So there was no piece for evaluation of the charter officers. Remember, the charter officers are the city manager and the city attorney. And we wanted to keep it, we wanted to make sure that there were evaluations, but the details of the evaluation should be put in the contracts, not in the charter. So it's evaluation, charter officers shall be evaluated on an annual basis by the city council. Good. Compensation. Charter officers' compensation should be fixed within the contract that was added. So instead of just fixed by council, but fixed within the contract. And when a city manager or city attorney resigns or is removed, council shall immediately begin the process to fill the vacancy, where there was no set time. I'm sorry, there was with 90 days, but they all wanted it to be immediately to get moving on it. And then an acting city manager or attorney, or acting city attorney will or shall be appointed by the council instead of may, because you're going to need people in those positions. Now the question here is, do you want will or shall?
I think shall is a stronger imperative than will. There's no wiggle room in shall.
Okay. Got it. And then candidate for city office, no charter officer shall be a qualified candidate for an elected office while holding his or her charter office position. So they can, think about it and all that, but they cannot qualify to run while still sitting in that seat.
Do we say that they have to resign to run? Is it clear? I mean, do we actually have it written in there that says if they want to run, they have to resign? I don't know if I read that actually.
It's not.
Do we have it?
So if you can't qualify,
Well, but it doesn't say you have to resign. I mean, what's the qualification, right?
well, you have to qualify to get the position, and if you can't qualify and be in that position, then you don't have to worry about being an elected person.
Okay.
I guess with the exception is what if somebody wants to appoint the individual. So let's say there's an opening in, so that gets kind of weird in St. John. So let's say there's an opening in St. Johns County, and with the changes that you all wanted with the residency, an individual could live in St. Johns County if the whole thing were to pass, could live in St. Johns County and be your city manager or your city attorney. St. Johns County has an opening on their county commission. They're going to fill the vacancy, so they could fill it with that. They might want to fill it with that individual. This does not preclude that because it's the qualifying, and that's just the candidate. Nowhere in the charter does it say they cannot hold two. They cannot serve as city manager or city attorney and be an elected official in a different county or anywhere else, or even this county.
They could have policy for that,
They could.
because counties do have policies for their,
Most municipalities do too.
yeah,
Mhm.
for their, this is a little different, charter officers, but I mean, yes, for their direct reports that, not holding elected offices elsewhere, or.
Right, by state statute, you can't hold two offices.
What about just simply changing it elected or appointed?
Well, we don't have elected in there. It's a qualified candidate. So candidate for city office, no charter officer shall be a qualified candidate for any elected office while holding his or her charter position. It says nothing about elected or appointed. It just notes the qualifying. Or the original term just notes candidacy,
So upon qualifying, they have to resign.
unless they're appointed. Shall hold an elected office.
Do we want to worry about that? I mean, it's such a unlikely thing to happen, and I would assume that if you've got, say, a city manager who's then been appointed to the county commission in St. Johns County, I would think that the city council would have something sharp to say about that.
And probably fire.
So, I mean, I think that kind of resolves itself.
Okay, so do you wanna leave qualified in there, or do you wanna just leave it as candidate?
I think qualified is fine.
You wanna keep the qualified?
Yeah, because that gives you a hard date.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. And we're now into the city manager. Only changes here were, get rid of expertise in this section, so basis of experience, education, and management expertise. So you're saying what type of expertise, as it pertains to running a municipal government of similar size and budget to Palm Coast. Yeah, that's an agreement?
Yeah.
And then there's the residency. Here is, there was no solid numbers on here. So he or she currently, a city manager, must live within the city boundaries of Palm Coast. There was discussion about opening that up to say that they're encouraged to establish residency within the corporate limits. And at the very least, the city manager must maintain residency within a set amount of miles of the city limits.
We discussed 50. I think that, Terry, that was your recommendation.
And it still is.
So 50 of the city limits, that could put you in,
Put you in,
The land, you know, out to the landing, I guess it opens up how many more people will have the ability to come and apply for the job.
well, technically, anyone can apply for the job regardless of where they live. It's once they get the position, they have to move
But
here.
it gets a little bit more, maybe a little bit more warm and fuzzy when you know that you could live within 50 miles, you don't have to move your whole family over 50 miles.
I worked in two places at a distance. One was, I lived in Longwood when I worked for the county here, and I was making the trip every single day. But I had knowledge I was moving anyway with that. And it's an hour and 10 minutes from Lake Mary into the county office building. And that's not speeding.
It just
I don't-
opens up people.
Yeah, and I don't know how do I put this? When I lived down in South Florida, it would take me longer to go from Hollywood to Miami City Hall, you know, and it was a shorter mileage. So I don't know how you, I know where we want to go. I don't know how you do that. And I've been in a city where my boss lived on the very edge of the city, and he had to go 50 miles just to get to City Hall.
Well, if I may, my point is that by advertising the fact that you could be within 50 miles, there may be then more people with that experience level that would want to apply. That's the purpose of it. Not that we're encouraging people to drive 50 miles one way every day. Not at all. Okay, I'm just saying that within 50 miles of here, there's an awful big talent pool, but we would be eliminating it because was the previous requirement. That was my point, and nothing more.
And I agree with your point. It's just, I'm trying to point out that
So it's, the thing here is the number of miles, 50? Everybody agrees at 50?
Yes.
Okay, so then we have the power and duties of city manager. This is highlighted for discussion. If both the mayor and vice mayor offices are vacant, the acting mayor shall countersign such vouchers. And this is on, again, the duties of the city manager.
Does this have to be in the charter?
I believe that was what the discussion was about.
Could this be by ordinance as well? I mean,
Or in the part in Article 4 where they talked about the mayor and the city council?
Is the highlights are not an addition, right?
No, that just, if it's highlight, it's just it was a discussion point that was not settled. So here, we're talking about dollars, vouchers and depositories and such, so I would say keep it in the charter, but then there's the question of putting it with the mayor and vice mayor duties versus under the city manager.
Well, if it's with if Buzz, I have to go
This
back
is
and read it.
countersigned.
If the mayor and vice mayor are gone for some reason, then the mayor pro tem or the next person in line.
It says, if I could, in Article 4, Section 5, it says, in the absence of the mayor and vice mayor, the remaining council members shall elect the councilman to serve as acting mayor.
So, do we need this? I mean, it just, or is it superfluous?
Well, that would be another change, or you can just leave it there for clarity.
I agree with you, Patrick, it's superfluous because the acting mayor has those duties that the mayor would have, and they've been appointed by the council, right? So-
Yeah. So we could just,
Strike it.
Strike it.
but striking is a change. It doesn't hurt us to leave it there. And it eliminates one change.
Whichever is best, that we don't have to write something to change it, you know, advertise it or whatever.
Yeah, just to say it's superfluous, it's like it's only a
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with Mike.
few words.
If we don't have to change it, don't change it. even
Okay,
though
so
it
yeah,
is
keeping it there doesn't do anything, removing it doesn't do anything.
Removing it doesn't do anything, we don't have to say we're removing it?
Well, no, I mean, do anything with how the charter is enacted.
I'm
But
talking
yes, you still have to, it would be one more change.
one more change that has to be put part of
Yes.
the ordinance.
Yeah.
I would say leave it alone then, we less language.
consensus there.
And then the only other change in this section for city manager is under 9, that you want the prepare and supplement annually a balanced budget message and capital program to the council. And that we'll add wording that it has to include budget assumptions.
Yes.
I think you should.
Sorry.
I thought you wanted to say something.
No. No, sorry.
And I believe the question here was, does the budget message include budget assumptions?
It should, it doesn't.
It should, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't here for, that was the one meeting I missed, and that was my assumption, was that the budget message would have, you know, what the assumptions are, but I understand the need to want to be clear about it too, so.
Well, you could always change it to budget message with assumptions, including assumptions.
Your budget message including assumptions.
Takes a couple words down.
That's not.
Everybody agrees with that? The budget assumption should be in the budget message?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll just knock this one out.
After this, then we'll go to public comment.
There's no other changes under the city manager, and then we go to the city attorney. And the only addition there is the city attorney shall be a member in good standing of the Florida Bar and experienced in municipal law. That's an addition.
Which is an important change for me.
Yes.
Agree?
Agreed.
And those are all the changes.
All right, so before we go on to the Article 6, we'll ask for public comment on Article 5 discussion. Smoke what you got.
What was it?
think I mentioned that before, but if the mayor and the vice mayor are not there, why do they even have a meeting? Can't they cancel it? And the other thing is about the budget. I've come here in the city meetings and I've asked how much debt the city has, and I never got quite an answer. I think it should be part of the balanced budget or whatever. It should be in it how much the city owns and the plan to pay it back, so that people realize that we can't just add things forever if they see the number of what we own already.
If I can just respond, Chantal? You only have 2 business meetings a month. To cancel a meeting might end up leaving some important business undone. If the mayor and the vice mayor are not here, you still have a quorum. You still have 3 of the 5 members, so you still have a quorum, and those 3 members can appoint an acting mayor to have a meeting to make sure you're taking care of something that really needs to be taken care of.
I understand that, but in that case, people should not take those decisions anyway, because they don't have the number of people. But also, how do you deal with the fact that every once in a while there's a holiday and suddenly the meeting is dismissed and it still works?
It could, but like I said, sometimes there are real-time sensitive issues that you have to end up doing. And so sometimes you have to have a meeting. I mean, not that we're saying there's no reason that 3 members can't say themselves, we don't want to discuss this today because we're missing 2 members, let's postpone this, let's take this off the agenda and postpone it. They have the right to do that. But to automatically cancel a meeting because the mayor and the vice mayor aren't there, you might injure the city because you have to do a response to something.
I mean, what are the probabilities that the mayor and the vice mayor will be both sick on the same day or whatever?
Very low, but you have to prepare for those things. For instance, if the city has got a lawsuit against them and, there's a counterclaim and the city has to figure out how they want to respond to it, you only have so many days to respond to that, according to the court. So there might be some times when you have to make a decision.
Okay, you got an interesting point there, because if this is that important, the mayor and the vice mayor should be in that meeting.
I would agree with you, but this is just to try to cover all the bases. I would agree. If you're the mayor or any elected official, you should make every effort to be at the meeting, especially because we're trying to eliminate the remote attendance and remote voting. So we want to encourage people to be there, but this is just one of those catch-alls that in case there's something that has to be voted on, then you can have an acting mayor as long as you have a quorum. The quorum is the important thing. And that's true with most of the boards or councils that I'm aware of. As long as you have a quorum, you can have a legal meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Jeannie Duarte. I wouldn't worry too much about the February 1st deadline, because this has to be tabled till the next 2028, because we have an unauthorized seat on our council, and if they were able to read the charter in the first place, they would realize that our council seat, number 4, is seated. He's an unauthorized seat. I gave you all some information at your desk earlier, and so this literally needs to be tabled till we have a proper, full elected council on the dais. We have 2 appointed seats, 1 is unauthorized, and a vice mayor who is responsible as part to the information that went on the charter last year, went on the ballot last year to change the charter to remove provision 3E. Had they done that, they would have removed the spending cap, they would have removed the 36-month repayment deadline, removed the limits that the city has on public-private partnerships entering into, which they've already done too. I have that as well with me. And they would have removed our right to vote in referendum. So we're here today because of that, or I'm here today because of that. We have the right to still speak on these issues. But if we can't trust for them to read the charter and follow the charter, we can't trust for them to change it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may. As far as I'm concerned, we're here, we're gonna stick by our schedule and move forward and do a comprehensive job like we promised to do.
And, Jeannie, I let you go on that, but when we're having public comment, it's on the section that we're discussing. So we just got done talking about charter officers, you can make that comment if you want at the end of the meeting, when we have open comment, but I would ask you to please limit your comments to what we're talking about, this particular section, and we'll go through it, okay? Thank you.
And I would just comment, whether we like it or not, a judge has ruled that the appointment was legal.
That was only on his,
Let's keep that to the end of the meeting, guys, okay?
only on his appointment,
Next speaker.
not continue.
Tony Amaral, Palm Coast. So as the charter moves forward, review, I believe it was section 4.2A, qualification of the city manager.
Section 5.
5.2A. The part where it says, along the lines of the city manager expertise, we have that one section where it says, similar size and budget of Palm Coast. Should we have that at least? Because if someone's a downside, they're coming from a bigger population or a bigger, because at the end of the day, we literally have people that are arguing on whether or not it's supposed to be happening. And I don't want the next city manager to be up there and go, oh, he came from a bigger city with a bigger budget, and the charter says has to be similar size and budget. So it is something that we should think about, because the charter will be fine, it'll be combed over and picked at and every which way if this goes forward. So if that's your intent about, not getting someone from a city of 5,000 people with a budget of $50,000, Marineland, then it should be at least of similar, because it can be better or more, and that's just an idea.
It's a great idea.
I know, I'd like it.
No reason that we shouldn't put at least in there.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you for the idea.
Well, this is a change anyway.
Can I comment on that before? So, I think they've had a few times where they've hired people that have less experience. But that doesn't mean that there aren't others out there. I agree with you on that. There are others out there that actually have tremendous amount of experience, that may have had experience in larger cities, and maybe have gone to a smaller city for a variety of reasons, whatever they are, and they should not be excluded. I agree. There's a lot of good talent. It's up to the council to pick that person.
So are we agreed to add at least? Did that change?
Similar. What's similar? Define similar.
Similar size and budget, so population, budget, so
10%,
you're not having a
25%.
mainland person coming trying to run, Palm Coast. So at least of similar size means that it can be larger, but it really shouldn't be a tiny, tiny municipality, which Florida has a whole bunch of.
We had a city manager who came here from, I believe, Oregon or Washington, who was the city manager of 8,000 people. And he was lost in this job.
Wow.
He didn't last very long, but he shouldn't have been hired in the first place.
Yeah, and I went from a city of 10,000 to a county of 1 million as a deputy.
Deputy.
Huh?
Deputy.
So how do we want
Still.
to fix this?
I'm gonna someone make a suggestion.
I don't know.
I think we just add at least.
I got a suggestion.
Okay.
I mentioned it before. You guys are tying the hands of council by having this type of stuff. That's why I brought it up today, was because we had that. When you guys brought it up last time, I made the same comment about it. Lauren Johnston has never been a city manager. Had Lauren Johnston lived in Palm Coast, she could have easily gotten that job, walked right in, because she was never a city manager. She never had experience being a city manager of a city the same size or budget. But she could have walked in and she did a great job for 18 months, I think it was. So again, you are tying the hands of future councils, and we're literally, to my opinion, nitpicking it where it's going to come up. We're having issues still, we're about what the charter says and doesn't. And if we tie the hands of council, we might lose, my point there, because she's there, a good candidate just because they weren't of similar size and budget, or they had the previous job. And we might not need somebody, we might need someone that has more technical skill, because that's what we need for the next 3 years, whether it's wastewater, whether it's stormwater, whether it's, whatever. If that's the qualified person at the time, then that should be the qualified candidate, no matter what.
Jeannie Duarte, I would say at least similar size or budget. We don't want just somebody just walking in and applying and getting their job and not having qualifications. Anyways, on the X miles, they need to live in Palm Coast. They need to live within the city limits of Palm Coast. If we all have to drink or bathe or wash our clothes and raise our families in this water, so do they. They have powers to help make decisions and signing these permits and whatnots. If we have to, they have to. So I would not say they can live within 50 miles from the city, because they might be in an area that has a lot better water than we do. Blythe County is in trouble, actually. So I would say within city limits. We have a lot of talent. We have a lot of people here in Palm Coast, and we don't need to be hunting out for people and giving them miles away from us. It's like the king that lives on the mountain overlooking the people that live in the filth. No, absolutely not. If we have to, they have to, and we pay them enough too. So they can afford to live here. It's not that expensive compared to driving here 50 miles. And we pay gas and everything, so yeah, no, they need to stay within the city limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. All right.
I got a comment on the size of requirement for the equal size of budget. And maybe Mr. Miller could chime in, but there's a certain point that $100 million to $250 million, it's the same thing. Sounds like it doesn't, but it is. And then when you go from 250 to 500 million, is it the same thing? So like, I'm no expert, but I will tell you that the operational theory of operating a business or a city, if you're used to managing multiple number of departments under multiple budget, extreme large budgets, then you can do it in its scale. And that's just my point, that I don't think that you necessarily have to keep it just to the similar size budget. You could get down a little bit, but you could go down to 50% of our budget, because it's still the same dollars, it's all relative. I really don't think that's, but to take someone who's done maybe $25 million budget, like Vanel's 6 or 8 million, whatever they are down there, and you want to put that here, I don't think that, not to say that the person's qualified now, I'm just saying that that's two different world style and size of budgets. So what is the real number? Really, the council should be kind of weighing in on that one, and it should be something that they need to think about. Because if we do hamstring them, I don't know. And with regard to the 50-mile radius and all that, it's about getting qualified people in a 50-mile radius. That's really the critical component. If they want to move here, they can move here. I know if I had a job that was paying me the kind of money that these guys make, I would move here. For the sake of
waste gas money.
Yeah, it'd be stupid to do, but you want to open it up to people. So that's my 2 takes on that. I think that's one that the council needs to really weigh in on, and not us to hamstring it in the document.
I read that language to be fine the way it is. Jeannie, you can't, without that, you had one time to talk.
Okay, I was just gonna say something about the similar size of budget. That whole part after the word government can just be eliminated. Running a municipal government. Not even to mention
we've all seen what happens when you get a guy who runs a city of 8,000 and tries to run Palm Coast. It doesn't work.
Qualifications and
Okay, may I offer this, Mr. Chair? Take the word similar and put it after running a similar municipal government area. Would that help?
Yeah, I think the size and budget, the similar size and budget kind of gets to what you're all talking about. I don't suggest changing any of that. I would just leave it alone.
I mean, the definition of similar is up to the city council.
Yep.
And that's what I said before, it's really up to them to decide what the similar is.
Then that addresses the issue of not hamstringing them, or, you know, so,
Yeah, we're not putting numbers on that, it's similar.
I think the changes the way you have them, I'm fine with those the way they are. We got consensus there?
Consensus.
Okay.
And, you know, Mr. Amaral, I think the purpose of the charter is to put some restraints on the city council. It's to make sure they operate within the rules that are voted on by the citizens. So that's the whole purpose of the charter, is to define how the city government should operate.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
In this case here, as you said, in the similar size and budget, but it's still, the hiring of that city manager is still going to be the end-all responsibility of council. So technically, it's just a guidance, is what that is, Jeannie. It's a guide to tell them, we the people would like to have you hire someone of similar, you know, size and budget experience. That's what that is. So it doesn't hamstring them,
At least.
and that's important.
Okay. All right, I think we're good to keep moving forward to Article 6.
Budget and appropriations. Okay, so fiscal year, October 1, September 30th, there have been no changes on this section. And highlight again is for the discussion, there was discussion about the limitations. This falls in with the appropriation amendments during the fiscal year. Supplemental appropriations, reduction of appropriations, transfer of appropriations, limitations, effective, So this is the appropriation, amending appropriations partially through the year. This is the limit on those amendments. The effective date. No appropriation for debt services may be reduced or transferred. No appropriation may be reduced below any amount required by law to be appropriated, and no appropriation may be reduced by more than the amount of the unencumbered balance thereof. You can't transfer more than how much money they have. Other provisions of the law to the contrary notwithstanding, the supplemental and emergency appropriations and reductions or transfer appropriations authorized by this section may be effective immediately upon adoption. There was discussion when we first went through this about moving money around mid-year. Are you happy with this language, or there was angst before?
Well, it's almost still a little bit angst to it, but it's better. I mean, the
There
balance.
are no changes here.
Right, I mean, the balance sheet has to balance one way or the other, so if you got debt on one side, it should be the same amount of revenue on the other side, that's the way it reads. So that's the way it should be, so I don't think that, it's got a lot of language in it. I don't think you can make it any easier. I say leave it the way it is, where we have it.
I go along with that.
Got a consensus?
I mean, you could go through and try to clean the language up, but again, there's a real limitation of what we can achieve, so if it works, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Okay.
And then there's this one. Limitation of the council's contracting authority. This is the piece that Ms. Duarte was mentioning with the charter amendment on the last ballot. So unless authorized by the registered voters of the city at a duly held referendum election, the council shall not enter into lease purchase contracts or any other unfunded multi-year contracts, the repayment of which exceeds the excess of 36 months or exceeds $15 million. And then you want it added from the general fund.
So, I wasn't here for this discussion, it was part of the meeting I missed. Lauren had reference to sending us information about prior presentations and research. So I haven't had a chance to look at that, and I would like to think more about that, and
We can come back.
discuss it, but I would like to table this particular section until the next meeting.
Okay. Just, Mr. Chair, just so you know what we were discussing changing the 15 million to a percentage of the budget, because 15 million, 20 years ago doesn't buy what $15 million does today.
Okay.
So we were trying not to tie the council or the city manager's hands by changing that number from an exact figure to some kind of percentage. So it would give them the chance if inflation goes up, then it gets more expensive, then they can, make it a percentage. That's what we weren't talking about eliminating it. We were talking about changing the 15 million to a number that gives the, more option to the city government.
Okay, that's.
But I have no problem by tabling it.
Yeah, that's very helpful, I did not know that, so that's good.
I'd make the motion to table it.
Yeah, second.
Okay, thank you.
Just wait for Lauren's info.
And just, if you guys help me out on this one, that I'm just not sure of this, because I'm, I didn't serve in the city, but the utility funds and the other,
Solid waste.
yeah.
Utilities,
those are all.
stormwater, solid waste, they're
Right,
all.
those are all the enterprise funds, those have different, they have different state statutes that govern them, correct, in terms of borrowing limits?
That's not included in here,
Yeah.
that's why they
That's
added,
what we reference general fund.
right,
Yeah, make sure.
just in the general fund to make it clear for the average person who's looking at this.
Yes.
Because they're a revenue source,
Correct.
not a tax source. Of Florida statute limits their
Yep.
taxing authority versus what they would charge us for water, sewer, so on and so forth.
I just came from a county that wasn't in the utility business, so.
Lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them.
Okay, and this is the last section of this article.
Okay, so let's have a public comment on budget, on Article 6, budget and appropriations.
Alright, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that before also, but first of all, I want to ask a question. What is that general fund? What are we talking about?
That would be the taxing fund.
It's where your property tax dollars go, it pays for police, parks, things like that, so that's the general.
Alright, so my concern is if we have one project and we just enter that whatever amount that you say, that allows for another project to go through and another until there's no money left or whatever. But the city already is in so much debt, I don't remember the number I got, but why are we doing that? I would believe that 15 million should not be less than that. And other unfunded multi-year contracts, I mean, all those things that kind of scare me because you can lose control very fast of the money that comes in, and then you ask people for more, you increase the tax here and there, and the gasoline is one of the cheapest place, more expensive place, in Florida, here, Pine Coast. So, I mean, when we talk about the budget, we have to remember that it's not somebody else's money we're talking about, it's everybody, it's the whole community.
Chantal, if you're finished,
Yes.
I just pointed out the general fund budget for this fiscal year is $67 million. The total budget for Palm Coast for this year is $698 million. The general fund is 10% of that.
Okay, so that means,
And the problem is, if you wanna reduce that 15 million, that means you can't do anything until you get the net, you have to create a referendum, you have to wait till the next election and put it on. So you're really tying the hands of government. You need to give government the ability to spend money that needs to be spent quickly, instead of waiting for, each November for a general election and then put it to the bids. All we were doing with that was, that 15 million was set 20 years ago.
okay,
We were just trying to find out from the city whether or not, how often they exceed that, because inflation makes everything more expensive. You would go back and look at prices 20 years ago. But gas tax is not set by the city, gas tax is set by the state, the government. The general fund is functioned totally by tax.
why does the gasoline is more expensive here in Palm Coast than the other cities? Is because the city decides how many,
No, gas tax is set by the state of Florida, not the city.
No.
so the state of Florida says that city is going to pay that much and not the
Well,
other
not the
one?
city.
Excuse me, folks, stop.
Gas,
The state of Florida allows counties so many pennies to be added to the gas tax for the purposes of maintaining roadways. I believe, and Doctor, you can correct me, did they change it to allow the cities to have a quarter penny or something later on? Do you recall?
No, it's, the gas tax is shared by an interlocal agreement between
County and the city.
county and city.
They were discussing that anyway. So the county sets it, they decide what they're going to give the cities. And I can tell you in some counties, they even take the districts people are in and say, this amount of money from this gas tax will be spent in this area for roadways. But that's the way gas tax works.
All right, so by adding here from the general fund, does that mean that from the general, from all the city budget, they can still do it and there's no limit? Because before you added that, it was understood as the city budget.
Can I throw something in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so the city budget for the $15 million in the general fund is what we pay in our taxes to fund public works, parks and recreation, the administration. Who am I missing? Those are the ones that work with the tax money, so they can only hire so many people to run City Hall and all of that. They can only hire so many people to do parks and recreation. They can only operate public works by X amount of dollars. That's where the 15, that's the maximum that any one of those departments could potentially borrow or fund a project. We're talking about using a percentage versus a locked-in 15 million because of inflation, because of the management of those departments. They really can't get so far carried away. Where the other departments that are done by services fees, those departments, as you're feeling in your monthly check now, is different. That those can get carried away and have no limitations at this point. So that's a lot different than this. This is just to help manage the growth of the city within the taxing levy portion of the budget.
Can I suggest that we just, again, we decided to table this item, so can we, we're going back and forth, and we're just gonna have the same discussion when we actually have a position and discuss that. So I would recommend that we just table, that we minimize this discussion right now because we're not even certain about what we're gonna do yet, or recommend, so that's okay. Save time too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so let's keep going. And I appreciate everybody's concern, and I think we're gonna have good discussion on it, but we're not to the point where we're gonna make a recommendation yet for you guys to react to. So, all right, let's keep going to the next article.
We are going into the elections, Article 7. So here is where the charter defined electors, so we'd be removing that if we move out electors and put voters of the city of Palm Coast. So that's the only change there, and then the regular numbers, changing the numbers of all that. 4A, so 4 is the schedule of regular elections and primaries. And here we're looking at an election to fill a vacant council seat. When there is more than half a term remaining shall be held during the next special schedule or primary election. Such election shall be for the remaining years of the original term. This was to clarify the piece that we were talking about before. Okay, let me go back and look at Article 4, 7E. Because I believe we fixed this by not making it different. 4. 7E. Okay, so that's got to be changed. So that's now 7F. If these changes are all correct, the filling of vacancies. And if you recall, so it's Article 4, Section 7F. Article 4, Section 7F, the filling of vacancies under the city council. And it was changed so that right now in the current charter, there are 2 pieces for filling of vacancies, depending on how much is left in the term. And y'all changed that to just one piece that reads, if for any reason other than a recall, a vacancy occurs in the office of any city council seat, the office shall be filled by appointment within 90 days following the occurrence of such vacancy. If such vacancy occurs within 6 months of the next regularly scheduled election, the remaining council members shall delay the appointment. Any appointment shall last until the next scheduled election in the county, be it regular, special, primary election. That's where we fall into here. So now we're talking about the elections. And so an election to fill a vacant seat, as outlined in paragraph 7F of Article 8.
So you're gonna change that on the working document?
Yes, I'm gonna have to change that.
Doctor, it's one question, because, I know we eliminated the second paragraph to combine them, but it still says in here it says for the remaining 2 years of the original term. Shouldn't it just say the remaining years of the original term?
Yeah, I had it crossed out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On my copy that I have, it's not crossed out.
Look on the screen. Look on the screen. Look on the screen.
Okay. Well, this is what I got from you.
Yeah,
I printed, so.
yeah, I think I'm following the same one as you would put. Okay. So yes, it's crossed out. And I believe the next one then becomes a moot piece. So let me look into that a little bit more since we pushed them, realign them. So for the remaining years of the original term, then means that you don't need section B.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
And so then it will just be section 4 without a subletter. And then there's the scheduling of special elections. If there is no election within 1 year of a vacancy, a special election for the vacant position as outlined in paragraph 7F of Article 4 shall be called within 30 days. And that would be the change there. This is what, there was a difference between whether it was a council member or if it was the mayor. This makes it for any vacant position, so all of them are treated the same.
Right.
Do we need such special election for mayor shall be for the remainder of the vacant term?
It doesn't have mayor in there anymore.
It would be anyone.
Right, so we can take that out.
It is struck out.
Not on the screen.
On the screen is fine.
On the top left, it's crossed out of mayor.
It's struck, right?
No, the last sentence on A says such special election for mayor shall be for the remainder of the vacant term. So we don't need that. We don't need that sentence. Because all of it shall be for the remainder of the vacant term.
Yeah, it was struck
Right.
out.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that got up.
Pick up.
Got that, Doc?
Yes, I do, I'm trying to figure out why that's up there.
Scrivener's error.
Oh, no, I copy and paste, that's what I'm trying to figure, that means that something's
Bad face job.
bad. Well, I copy and paste it, then anything that's removed,
I'm
I
trying to
have
bail
to
you
add
out
back
here,
in.
okay? It happens.
Doesn't make it right. Okay. Special election. Oh, there it is, okay, I see it here. All right. We're good on these? Now that I've figured out what these are. Determination, no changes in, determination of office, qualification, determination of elected office, the qualifying such. Then there is, still in the section, city canvassing board, no changes. And then we're into Article 8. So we'll, this one closes up Article 7 elections.
Okay, got it. You went forward and you went back. That was
Yeah,
because of Article
yeah,
8.
that's because it's the city council district
Yeah,
boundaries.
understood. All right, so public comment on Article 7, elections.
Tony Emerald, Palm Coast. Can you go back to that where it just, the very thing changed, it's like, it was or schedule of regular elections, and I believe it was B? I'm a little confused about B. It says an election to fill a vacant council seat as outlined in 7E Article 4.
Which is now 7F.
Oh, right. When there is less than half of the term remaining, shall be filled at the next special scheduled or primary election.
Yeah, that's the piece that I noted it too. Let me pop up.
Yeah, because we don't have an election for half a term.
I'm gonna pop up, so when, you all were discussing, when, Mr. Martin brought up the mayor piece, this is the part that I was looking at, so I have a note that I have to remove remove B, and it's only going to be 4, the schedule of regular elections and primaries, which is what we were discussing before. So it's just going to be 4, and there's no B, the A becomes part of the 4, and it's to fill any of the vacant seats. All vacant seats are filled the same way. So what you see here has already been updated verbally, that there is no B anymore.
Yes.
And I think that was just clarifying because seat 3 is only going to be for 2 years. It's a special election technically to fill in seat 3 this coming year. It'll only be for 2 years and then it'll be up for election again to keep with mayor, seats 1 and 3 always falling on
The same year.
the election years of the presidential, 2 and 4 are always midterms.
Right.
So that's why when I saw that, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we talked a lot about that.
Mr. Chairman, is this the time to object to what our attorney gave us about fees and percentage of because it mentions it in one sentence here about registering, qualifying to vote. Our attorney is wrong. He is absolutely qualified, unqualified, wrong.
Well,
And that needs to go forward, or I'll mention it at the very end of the meeting.
Yeah, let's just finish public comment
That's okay.
first and then.
Good evening. Anyways, I have a copy here of the 2018, I'm not quite sure exactly where this is on here, but it is concerning the filing of vacancies. On the bottom of this one, when it talks about, remaining 2 years of the original term, thus continuing the staggering district seats. So it talks about staggering in 2018, and then in the 2024 version, that this one was printed before the election, so I don't know what the new one after the election says. This one talks about the regular 4-year term. So the ending of the very same section is different. So once there's somebody coming in like Gambaro, when somebody gets appointed or reelected for that spot, or something, appointed actually, it's for the remainder staggering of the seat.
Jeannie, that section being removed, and it's always whenever somebody's filling a position, it's for the remainder of that term.
Can you
For
speak?
the remainder of that term, yeah.
Can you tell us what you just said?
But on this one, it says, on this 2024, it says held for the regular 4-year term. So, at which time the seat shall be declared open and an election held for the regular term. But this is considering a special election. This is talking about replacing somebody that is no longer there. So, there's 2 different versions of it for 2 different dates. You guys, copies of it in your packets.
I read it already.
Okay, so for clarity, here we are talking about the schedule of regular elections and primaries. So section 4 is regular elections and primaries. 5 is special elections.
Okay.
Just so we're clear on those 2 pieces.
Right. Okay, I don't think we have any more public comments, and keep going.
I'm just wondering, let's say somebody is elected for the remainder, okay, thank you, of the term of somebody else, let's say it's 2 years. But that person had to go to run for that and will be there only for 2 years. Can we make it just for 4 years? That would be fair, no?
No, because
Why?
we stagger the terms, so there's always at least two members of the council who stay on council. You don't want to lose that institutional memory. So you're elected, if there's a vacancy, you're just elected to fill out the remainder of that term. If you want to run again, you can run again. But you can't, but it's important to make sure that you have continuity, because if you had all 5 new members, people wouldn't remember what had happened in the previous terms.
Well, maybe, but there's some cases where the people would like actually the whole council to be changing one time.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because that's like even the midterms coming up for the US government. I think cities and counties are following that type of idea, to have new people coming on board at opposite times to give fresh ideas to the board.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on to Article 8.
We might get to the end of this tonight.
What's that?
We might get to the end of this tonight. Okay, city council districts. The change here was that they must appoint a special commission of registered voters of the city. That's the change. They being the council, and they have to appoint that committee, and that's the committee that's going to be defining the council districts. And then it was added, which may use consulting firms, to make it clear that there wasn't clarity, and if they do the consulting, if they can hire some, so, that was added. Everybody's happy with that?
Yes?
Okay, and so here you're going to see a lot of red, don't freak out. This is, if you recall, under Article 9 of General Provisions, there was a whole big section about council districts, and I moved those underneath the council district section of the charter.
Which we discussed before you were going to do.
Yes, and so here it is. Because it's a change, it was a cut and paste, it's all in red. So the number of districts, you're keeping the four districts, that stays the same. District and commission, that stays the same, the commission report, as well as the support, and then the procedure. And it was failure to enact an ordinance. There we are. Failure to enact an ordinance.
We wanted them, we were trying to make them enact and not
Right, you didn't want them to continually.
just leave it alone.
Right, and so I have it circled that failure to enact an ordinance. After the receipt of the commission report, the council shall adopt redistricting ordinance at least X amount of days before the next regular city election.
You have 180 on here.
Right, is that, you still want the 180?
Yeah.
Okay. Needed to make sure that. And then, again, the change is that it just moved from Article 9 to Article 8, which is the effect of the enactment, the new council districts and boundaries, they become, you're going to supersede all the other council all the previous council districts. And all district seats not up for election, but which as a result of their districting no longer have a council member who live within the district, shall be declared vacant for the purpose of the next regularly scheduled election. And that concludes Article 8.
Discussion? Fair job. Okay? All right, public comment on Article 8, City Council District Boundaries.
Good evening, Darlene Shelley, K section. Just a little clarification on the voting districts. I know it's concurrent with the census, and it's very difficult to find an accurate map of where the districts line up to a street level. I'm just wondering what body's responsible for that, because the supervisor of elections directed me to the city.
It's the city.
The city directed me to them. But there was a change in I'm District 4 in K and Z. My District 4 used to include Citation, which now has a lot more homes and communities, developments, HOAs, etc. The district maps were changed to take that away. District 4 got smaller, District 3 got larger, but there is no map that shows the boundaries. And I can't find anything that's showing the population to make sure it's still equal.
You need to talk to planning and zoning. I was the chairman of the district committee in August 2021, and we definitely had a final map that was presented to us. And we have to rearrange things because the federal law says you can't be more than 2.5% above the average or 2.5% below the average. So when the city staff did all of the maps for us. They gave us 5 maps originally, and they did bother to include the active file candidates. We found 2 active file candidates that would have been moved out of the district they filed for. So we directed the city staff, and it was Jose Papa. I don't know if Jose's still employed with the city, but Jose Papa was the one who led the staff to do maps. So they fixed and kept those two people, they redrew those two districts to keep those two people in the district they were already filed to run for. So planning, I know Jose works for planning and zoning, so Mike check with planning and zoning, because I can tell you for a fact that we approved a map. There is an actual map at street level that shows you where
That's what I
the
need.
district boundaries are.
The clerk should have.
Right, and also to determine that the populations are equal, and that one's not getting larger while another one's getting smaller.
Well, that happens the moment it's approved, because the next day it changes.
The answer is we're due soon, again, because just the population growth out northwest has been phenomenal, as you know.
Yeah.
So those numbers, if you literally went out and took an aerial of it and started counting numbers, I'm sure it's greatly changed, so we're due a change, but Mike's right. The numbers were on the map per district, when it was adopted. And the clerk can get you, or planning and zoning can get you a copy of it.
Yeah, what they did, they took the city population and divided it by the 4 districts. And that gave you your average population, and you couldn't be more than 2.5% above that number or 2.5% below.
Right, well, I'm fairly sure it is now, because taking away from 4 and adding to 3, I think it was just about 18,000 across the board, but I can't get a copy of what it looks like now.
Kayla, do you have that?
I will look.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't want to say, yes, I absolutely have that. I will look and I will be in touch, Miss Shelley.
But Darlene, I know for a fact that we approved an actual map.
Yeah, I was
There is an approved map.
Uh-oh.
I was there.
We have an expert to answer that question.
Yeah, I was there with you, Mike, and we did approve it and had the change, and they drew us a new map.
Yeah.
I had a copy, I don't know where it is, but I had one.
I probably have one in my files somewhere, because I tend to keep my files. But I know for a fact there is a map that we authorized.
Karen, did you have anything you want to add to?
No, just let her know that if she wanted a copy of the numbers, I can get it to her just to have her read it, call tomorrow.
Okay. But nothing for the public. That's fine. All right?
And just for clarity's sake, for Ms. Shelley, yes, it is well known that people move, things grow, places get developed, but the districts are reconfigured every 10 years based off of the federal census. So yes, there's going to be a lot of difference and disparity between like 8 years, 9 years in. You can have a lot of disparate representation going on within a city, but that is corrected every 10 years.
Or sooner.
But it won't be till 2031, because we don't,
Correct.
at least last year, we didn't get the census data until, I think it was early summer of 2021. So that's when the districting commission was created. So it'd probably be sometime late spring, early summer of 2031.
Yeah, it just doesn't, the districts do not adjust according to population on an ongoing basis.
Even though the state, some states.
We're not gonna go there. Hold your tongue.
No comment.
Okay.
Okay. 9, general provisions. Charter amendment, if you want to change the charter, you gotta go through this process. Or do pass an ordinance for it to go in front of the people. Any change to the charter always has to go to the vote of the people. Part 2 is the Charter Review Committee, which is y'all, and the changes to clean it up. This is where there was a section 10.2b, but there was no section 10.2b. So we updated it to 9.2b, which is where it actually is. And then we're removing the old language from about the 2008, and note that it's every 10 years at a minimum.
Which leaves it open to be sooner.
Right, and that's how it reads now. It can be sooner. You don't have to be, you can do it sooner than 10 years, but you cannot wait for 11, 12, 13 years.
Right, the maximum is 10 years.
Right. Yeah, actually, that's the minimum, every 10 years is the minimum.
Yep.
Charter Review Committee, there's gonna be 5 of you, registered voters, the initiative, here again with the electorate, cross that off. Electorate changes to registered voters. And then all of the district language got moved to Article 8, which is what we just went through.
Can we go back to 3? Article 9, Section 3?
Yep.
One of the things that we talked about, I think one of our first meetings when we got to Article 9, was we discussed setting a time limit for the city council to review if there is a successful reconsideration petition that's filed, because we didn't want to give the city council the opportunity to sit on that and not do anything. So we discussed setting a time limit. I think we talked about possibly 60 days.
Yeah, my notes don't have a number, it just has a hash mark, like this, you want there to be a limit, but.
Yeah, there'd be a limit.
members decide.
Because it's very hard to do. It's hard to get 10% of the registered voters to sign a petition. But if you can achieve that, the council needs to respect that.
And act on it.
And act on it. And not just sit there and, put it away and say, oh, well, we'll get to it sometime next year. So I think that there needs to be a time limit that you have to act. And if you don't act within the time limit, then the reconsideration shall go into effect, and the ordinance will be null and void until it goes to the voters at the next general election.
Well, depending on if it's an initiative or a referendum.
That's what I was gonna ask.
These are both together. As written, they're combined. Treated the same way.
This has by the next general election, right?
If council fails to adopt such an ordinance or amendment so proposed, or to repeal such adopted ordinance without any change in substance, and that's where I have add time frame, within, or blah, 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 then the council shall place the proposed ordinance or amendment, or the repeal of, or the adopted ordinance on the ballot in the next general election.
I have a question. Madam Clerk, how many meetings do you have to get 2 readings? You have to have 2 readings for an ordinance, right?
Yes.
So, can you do it within a month? Or would it take 90 days? You see what I'm driving at? You have to have time for them to advertise, have their meeting, and do it. And I was wondering what that time limit might be.
It would depend on the topic of the ordinance. For general ordinances, it could potentially be done in 1 month, if it is ready for the first meeting of the month, which is on the first Tuesday, and then for the second reading on the third Tuesday of the month. But there are some state requirements on ordinances that require, things to be sent to the state to be reviewed in the meantime, so it is dependent on the topic.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend 90 days, unless our good doctor finds something different. What do you think, Mike?
90 days would be fine. I'm just trying to make sure that the next election is not for, 18 months or 20 months, that the council keeps the ordinance in existence, even though it's already been subject, supposedly subject to recall. So 90 days is fine with me.
I was just filling in her blank to get them off their duff and moving.
No problem. So I have it now. If the council fails to adopt such ordinance or amends, if the council fails to adopt such ordinance or amend so proposed, or to repeal such adopted ordinance without any change in substance within 90 days, then the council shall place the proposed amendment or ordinance, switch around, or repeal of the adopted ordinance on the ballot in the next general election. So they have 90 days, and if they don't do anything in 90 days, it has to go to the ballot. But it still requires the council shall place the proposed ordinance or amendment on the ballot.
So, Kelly, to repeal an ordinance or to change it, they still have to have 2 votes, 2 separate votes?
I'm sorry,
think you're right.
Karen, do you have a?
I have a question. So, is there a place that it says at least 10% of the qualified registered voters shall petition? Is there a place that says when the petitions have to be completed before an election, when they need to start, how that petition is gonna get organized and structured and?
When I did it, the city did not have a procedural
Right,
form.
that's my asking.
But I do know that they actually have.
Okay,
The city has, they work with their lawyer and, I think the then city managers, so I've been told that there is now both a procedure in place and an actual form that's available to any citizen that wants to do this.
okay, 'cause is it gonna conflict with, you say the next general election, but if someone tries to start this in May, to start collecting petitions, they may or may not have that 10% and then be able to get everything done to be able to get on the next general election.
And that's something that if anybody wants to do this, they would have to go talk to the city clerk and find it, because we know that you need time, you have a deadline for which you have to set your ballot by, and then the city council has to, pass it, so, I know that I was told that I had, I think if I remember right, till June 12th to turn all my petitions into the supervisor elections office in order to try to get that on the November ballot.
Yeah, 'cause we gotta verify the petitions and.
Right, we gotta verify, yeah.
Everything, so, okay, I'm just asking.
So yes, I have not read the procedure, but I do know that they supposedly now have a procedure and a form available.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I have it within the 90 days. You guys want 90 days? Is that
I just
agreed
pulled
upon?
that out, anybody can change it. I just figured they at least need a month to work on it up here, and that gives them 2 readings. So I was just looking at things like our clerk said, if they hit the end of the month or into the next month, so 90 should give them plenty.
Okay. 90 it is. And then we're back to, all right, so, section 5, 4 was removed, so 5 is, 4 is the old 5. Put that over here. Standard of conduct, no changes in that. And that then concludes Article 9.
All right, public discussion, public comment on Article 9.
Let's see if I can remember this. Can you go back? Keep going.
This is the only ones where this growth started.
All the rest was Article 8.
Yeah, I'm missing something somewhere here. Okay, so go to the next one. Yeah, I lost my spot. Sorry about that.
Okay. Someone else? Okay. Nothing on Article 10 anyway.
No, I'm just reading that, and it says here that the recommendations to the city council by April 1st, but that's fine, because we're at the end.
Yeah, that's just boilerplate, that's in every,
What?
the severability clause.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the charter review, it's to get the recommendations need to be done to city council by April 1st. So the recommendations need to go there by April 1st, but we're done. Severability, boilerplate, any question? No changes to severability? Any comment on severability?
Well, there is one change from which to that.
Oh, that's just a grammatic thing. That, which is a unrestricted clause, that is a restrictive clause, so anything that comes after that has to be included in the sentence.
PhDs.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to say that to students. It matters.
Language, yeah, language should be precise, especially in legal things.
Yes. Tell that to the commas in the second amendment. Okay, so recap. We have some changes that we discussed here tonight. The one thing that is tabled to the next meeting is the last section of the budget article. We meet in 2 weeks, so within a week, you'll have a clean draft of all the newer changes that we've done, and I'll list out the changes so we can start discussing the finalization of this stuff and then possibly the rank order of them, or we can wait until February for ranking.
So I would charge the commission with two things. One, making sure that we review the materials that Lauren's gonna send us so we can have a good discussion on Article 6, Section E. And then secondly, to begin to formulate your own ranking of the proposed, of the changes using your working document, because that would be the most up-to-date document.
Right, and
The faster you can send it to us, the better. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to put pressure on
yeah,
you.
no problem, no pressure.
But
It's coming through.
But if each of us can do that, then that will,
Yeah.
help our discussion along that much better.
And,
Doctor, you can send your working document to the clerk, so.
Yes.
Okay.
and then, and so it's going to be the most updated working document. And it's, please do look through those, and remember that the changes where it's, changing elector to, voted, changing which to that or that to which, don't worry about those, that's an easier cleanup. Look at the substantive changes that were made, and there aren't many of those, and those are the ones that we're gonna have to discuss the rank ordering of before presenting that to council.
Are you still gonna color code the changes?
Yes, it's still going to be the same way, underline, strike through.
Feel free to put guidance in.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
if you would like to give us a list of the prompts,
You got AI on the mind, don't you? The prompts.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Just know what prompts you're using.
Yeah.
And any way that we could focus a little bit right on. what
Okay.
your points
Yeah,
are.
I'll give you some summaries.
That'd be good.
Okay?
I did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the point of, the health portion of,
That will be next week.
we'll do it next,
Not next week, next meeting.
next meeting, okay?
We're not meeting next week, are we?
I don't know, are we?
We probably should.
No, next week is the holiday. Next week is, Martin Luther King Day.
It's a holiday, doesn't mean we can't meet.
The building is closed. So the Monday after that will be
126.
126, and that sets us up nicely for the first meeting in February, then we can tie it up, and then after that it goes to the council on the 17th.
As long as you feel confident that we can do it, we're in, otherwise, add another date, whether it's a Wednesday or whatever.
Well,
We
you
left
all
that
got,
on
you
this beginning.
Let's not miss it.
guys got through 29 slides tonight.
So,
Well, we're just getting better at it. Usually get better at your job when you get ready to leave, right?
Kind of figured it out.
or after everything's over, you walk around, you're walking along and you go, oh, I remember.
Do we need to stick a Wednesday in?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. We, obviously, Lauren told us they want this report by the first meeting in February.
So why don't we do at least one Wednesday before that?
Because my question is, do you think that we can, I think we've agreed on all the changes. I don't think we really need to go back over and discuss the changes anymore. So what we have to do, we have to agree on the language and then we have to rank that. So if we have another 3 or 4 hour meeting on the 26th, do you think that we can finish this up?
I think we can.
I think we can.
And if not, perhaps then we can try to schedule, because I know we have to fit ourselves into what the availability of this room is.
So why don't we say, we're gonna try to finish it up, and then if we need one more meeting, we'll pick the next Wednesday or something like that.
The following Wednesday.
Or
the following Wednesday.
Is it possible, I know that the first, meeting of the month is the 6 o'clock meeting, it's the first Tuesday of February. Does anybody know what day February starts? Because I was thinking if we needed to, we could have that one more meeting the day before the council meeting, or then Monday, if the council meets on Tuesday night.
I think the problem that was raised by Warren was that, our council agenda packets are published 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so it needed to go in, but for February first to get it in the packet, but they're not actually looking at, we're not doing anything with the council until the February 17th.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so we need to give it to them, again, but we still need to give it to them by February 1st.
February 1st. We either slip another date in there somewhere.
I think we need to move to the 18th of February, that Wednesday, don't you think?
No, it's too late. We need to give it to them by February 1st. We need to get them a report by the 1st of February.
What's our next meeting?
26th?
26th.
Well, okay, so what we can do is, the reason why they need this for the packet is they need to see what the changes are. But they don't need the ranking yet. They need the changes and and the rationales. So if we can get that done next meeting, then it can go off to council, and then we can do that up, the meeting the second Monday of February to do a ranking for the presentation.
Yeah, we have a meeting scheduled on February 9th.
Right.
So we could then do the rankings on February 9th.
Doctor, if you feel good enough to wrap it up that way, that's fine with me.
So we're talking about 126 substantial work,
Mm-hmm.
and wrap up on February 9th.
Right, yeah, we'll do the ranking and then we can send that on to the council itself, but the,
Well, if worse to worse on the 29th, we can always, I mean, if the calendar's available.
26th?
No, do it, 2nd of February, the Monday before, do two, one after the other,
Well, we have to have, what's the meeting?
if the calendar's available.
February. I might as well pull up the calendar.
we're meeting on January 26th.
Yes.
Right. And February 9th, what I'm suggesting
Yeah.
is, if February 29th is not enough time, put in for February 2nd, if the calendar's available.
But we need to
We'll
give
get it
them the
done.
report by the 1st.
We have to have it done by February 1.
Oh,
We have to
So
give them
what
the
I'm
report
saying
by
is-
February 1st.
If we meet on the 26th, and we need one more, it has to be probably the 28th. That fits the doctor's schedule. Do you have anything scheduled on there? 28th of January?
It looks like that might be available.
So,
that can work.
I'd hate to come back the next, 2 nights later, but gentlemen,
Yeah,
if it makes you feel comfortable, let's ask the clerk to exit out for us.
The 28th.
Okay, so what we're looking at here then is January 26th, we wrap it up-ish. And then on the 28th, we really wrap it up with the rankings.
The rankings.
So then we don't have to do the February 9th.
Right, or the 23rd, because originally we were told we need to give them the report by the end of March, that's what they told us originally.
Yes.
So we were thinking, okay, we have 2 meetings in February, we give it to them only by the end of February. But now that the deadline for the report itself is the February 1st, but you said if you don't need the rankings on the 1st, but.
Right,
Yeah,
if we can do the 28th, we can knock it all out in January.
And but
Everything is done by February 1st.
and 2 days later, we won't need to even do a review of what we did on 2 days earlier. We can just get right on to the finish up or get on to the rankings.
Right.
Yeah, I would vote for the 26th, and then if we could schedule the 28th, fine, then we need the deliverable date all the way around, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So I think, again, the only thing that we need 2 things, if we're going to do, whether we want to change that 15 million limitation to a percentage, and then we need to also take a look at what the qualifying fee needs to be. Because according to Marcus, we need to,
He says that what it is, that the statute, we gotta go by state law. I have it right out of, I'm sorry, our attorney's wrong, he's just downright wrong.
Well, attorneys are only reviewing.
Dr. Dumont.
She
So
has it.
we're going to, what I'm going to do is put the state language in there. And because the city's, that is the city attorney's opinion, and we're supposed to follow the city attorney's opinion with any kind of, language like that. But I can look into it, a bit more with some people who I know who are also, but it's still, that doesn't matter, because it's the city attorney of the city that makes the final, that interprets the charter.
So would you agree with me that the state statute would call for a 4%? 4% of the salary fee? 3% of, the filing is 3% of the annual salary of the office, the amount of the election assessment is 1% of the annual salary.
Yes.
So would that make it 4% of the annual salary?
Okay, here's what I've got. I'll write, if I have to write the city manager and council about the city attorney's ineffectiveness, I will. I'm really ticked off that he didn't check it out with anybody else, went on his own. This is a document that is sent to clerks, and it says qualifying fee, statutory fee requirements may be changed by municipal charter or ordinance in accordance with statute 100.3605.
Well, this is statute 99.092.
Okay.
Where it talks about electors
I know
and
it
election.
is, but that, under that, in that statute.
So what was that statute again? 100?
100.35.3605.
0.35.36.
No, 0.3605. 13605.
Okay. 136.05.
And even in that same language is used as it allows for signatures that this city, the municipality, can adopt it by ordinance or charter. And he said no. And I asked him if he checked with any other municipality or the League of Cities, and he said no.
Yeah, he said he just checked with people in his law firm.
Yeah, well, maybe we need a new law for him.
Could be.
Okay.
I'm sorry to get so wild about it, but that really ticks me off.
So those are the two things that we need to,
Yes.
and everything else, in my opinion, appears to be said.
Everything else is done.
I think the homework part of it is as fast as you can get the working document out to us, and Lauren gets us the information, and then we do our own research on that too. We need to have our own opinions on that, so we get that together, we have that, and be prepared to discuss that robustly on the 26th, and I would recommend we all start to formulate our ideas about ranking. And if you want, what you were asking, I think, was for Dr. Dumont to give us maybe what you think are the priorities?
I don't know if I should, I'm uncomfortable saying what my priority, I don't live in Palm Coast, but what I could do is I will summarize the substantive changes.
Yeah, that's what
And then you all.
That gives us
decide
a
which
discussion
one.
starting.
Right.
You don't have to rank them, just give them to them.
I think
Right,
so.
I'll summarize what the
I think
changes
we
are,
all
but I won't rank them.
have our own ideas, and it's
Mhm.
probably not gonna be that far off, but yes, if you could give us a starting point, I think that would be helpful. Everybody agree on that?
And I would just like to add that I hope everybody in the audience, if you come back to our meeting on the 26th, that you will also give us your opinions on the rankings of what changes we're considering, so we can take your opinions in before we have a final vote on it.
So does that mean that we could actually wrap it up on the 26th and not even have to go to the?
We might.
Okay, that would be helpful to us, because we gotta be in Gainesville at 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
the following morning.
No, we gotta leave here at 5:30.
We gotta leave, yeah. That's okay. Be the first.
You're not gonna spare the mosquitoes.
No, we gotta fight those.
No sympathy for me. I've had 2 meetings that went late, and I was at the airport by 4:35.
We're only joking, it's a joke between Mike and me.
Okay, all right, so with that, I would open it up to one final section of public comment. Anybody wishes to bring anything up? Seeing none, we'll go to the last section on the agenda. Any other discussions for committee members that we don't have on the agenda?
Other than thank you for everybody who showed up.
And Dr. Taman, I know you're not feeling the greatest, recovering from illness, so appreciate you soldiering on and working hard with us. Appreciate that very much. So if that's, all right, if that's where we're at, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.